everyone, welcome back to Stonehearth Desktop Tuesday. This week we continue with our deep dive into the conversation system as part 2 of a series that illustrates how Stonehearth feature gets from concept into the game. Stonehearth is a game about a small group of people optimizing their environment in order to thrive. So the primary goal of the conversation feature is to commemorate your achievements from your Hearthling's point of view. As Hearthlings gain and share opinions about things, this should also help them develop as individuals. Last week, we explored how designer Richard kicked off the conversation feature with a design doc he wrote and iterated over with the rest of the team. The next step was for engineers Linda and Justin to take that doc and figure out how to turn it into working code. But a deep dive into that works better as a way to show off how all the pieces came together. So instead, this week, let's talk about how artist Mally took Richard's design doc and created a sequence of animations to bring the conversations to life. Richard specified that conversations should be built from a sequence of 10 nodes that could be recombined for infinite variation. Each part of the sequence should have at least 3 animations, so each conversation would look unique. That's 30 animations total, only 8 or so which had been previously created in earlier alphas. Mally has been quite busy. Let's take a closer look. The first node is initiation, which must show 2 people acknowledging and then approaching each other. For this, we already had waving and whistling, but we also added an emote shout, since people often start conversations from quite far away. Whistling is an animation we reused from the Shepherd. Creating animations that are adorable but can be used in multiple situations was one of Mally's first goals on arriving on Team Stonehearth, and one of the best ways of saving time while developing a feature. The next conversation node is called Subject, and it's the one where the first Hearthling introduces a topic to the second Hearthling. This is the part of the conversation where you'd expect a normal talking animation, gesturing with the hands, asking a question. Later, when the feature is complete, subject bubbles should appear here for full effect. After the conversation comes a reaction from the second Hearthling, in which they respond to the topic introduced in the subject with a question, or an expletive like anger or surprise, or disinterest. This is also where the second Hearthling has a chance to have their emotion about the subject influenced by the first Hearthling's emotion. So for example, if the first Hearthling is terribly afraid of goblins, the second Hearthling might also gain a fear of goblins from this conversation. The person who introduces the subject then gets to react, and there's always an emotion associated with the response. Here are some happy responses. And here are some neutral ones. And here are some negative ones. The negative ones range from a simple no to an exclamation of belief to, well, outright tears. These animations were some of the most entertaining to make. In most cases, Mally says that he picks an animation to express an emotion by trying to imagine how he'd act in that situation and then exaggerating it in his mind, because these animations have to be able to read even when the camera is very far away. Then he or a teammate acts out the animation in front of the camera. Mally then watches it over and over in slow motion until he can bring it across into Maya. Finally, there's a conclusion, which is either happy or sad. If both Hearthlings agree about the subject introduced in the conversation, whether they're both happy about it or both sad about it, they get a happy thought. If the Hearthlings find they've disagreed, they may get a sad thought. Some conversations also end neutrally. Emote Cry was the hardest of the animations in this batch, Mally says, because the original attempts were too subtle. He was trying to do fast inhalations in the torso, but nobody could tell what was going on. In the end, he turned the dial all the way up to 11 and did an out-and-out bawling animation, complete with VFX tears. And here are the animations in the game. As you can see, we've gotten a bit further as compared to the videos I took last week, with placeholder icons for when Hearthlings should be talking about things, but the conversations are still missing their subject images, which has been one of the most unexpectedly complicated parts of the engineering and art effort so far. More on this next week. Finally, some of you have asked for updates on stuff we're working on outside of conversations, so for completeness' sake, let me mention some of the long-term projects we have going on in the background. Active work on building, performance, and AI, prototypes to work out overarching metagame design, fixing endless edge cases with water volumes, and high-level concept arts for future features. And that's it for this week. Let us know what you think here in the comments or in our forum at discourse.stonehearth.net. You can also find us on Twitch. A different member of our team streams their current projects and development every Thursday at 6 p.m. PST on our Twitch channel, www.twitch.tv/Stonehearth. See you next week!
casual matchmaking is launching. On Tuesday next week, casual matchmaking will go live for European and North American players in objective mode, and we are very excited. This is an important turning point in Dirty Bomb's history, and will mean better quality matches for all players. We'll be very carefully monitoring its performance, and we'll be adding to the system over time to improve it, so give us as much feedback as you can once it goes live. All other regions will continue to use Quick Join, but as Dirty Bomb continues to grow, we'll start shifting them across once they're ready. In all regions, Server Browser will be your only way to access stopwatch servers outside of Ranked, our named community servers, and eventually rentable servers too. This is a big change, and will take a while to get used to, but in the long run, this will improve every player's experience and will help to grow the game. There's only 5 days left for you to pick up the updated 2nd edition Containment War loadout cards. That also means there's only 5 days left for you to play Execution until it's removed from the game. We've seen a lot of threads and comments asking if Execution could stay, but with our solid focus moving to Stopwatch and Objective, we don't currently have the capacity to maintain it with bug fixes, future updates, or to test it with every release. On August 22nd, it will be removed, so make sure you make the most out of the time as possible. Also on this date, the new and improved Dome will be released, so get ready to explore a new yet familiar map. Betas are designed for testing a whole range of different features before the game goes live. And with that being the case, it's time to make some more changes. In the next update, we're going to be adding additional tiers to the pricing of mercs, and this is to address a number of common issues, including players feeling mercs are generally a bit too expensive. We're also going to be updating the contents of the starter packs, and we'll also be replacing the bundles in store with new ones. If you'd like a full rundown of what the new prices and bundles will be when they're available from August 22nd, check out the news post on the website. We challenged Daz3601 to make the most epic Phantom video ever. So, the Blade Master and Keeper of the Dojo accepted. And you know what? He delivered. So if you're a fan of our katana-wielding megalomaniac, then check out Daz3601's Pledge of the Blade. Last weekend, DB Nation hosted their Summer Cup, and after a long-fought battle, FE emerged victorious and walked away with the $100 prize. Make sure you keep an eye on their website and social outlets for future tournaments, and if you want to watch the VOD of this tournament, which we highly recommend, you can find it on their Twitch channel. Last week we had a load of community members come and join us at the studio for 2 days of Dirty Bomb action. They got to meet the team, hang out with the devs, and provide us with invaluable feedback on past, present, and future features. Having a close connection with you is essential, and this is just the start. I love you guys! Last week, the most reported issues were Quick Join, Execution, and Daily Play bonuses. For Quick Join, we recently uncovered a bug which would constantly put players in empty servers. We have now resolved this, so getting into games is much faster and easier. For Execution, we're happy that so many of you enjoy the game mode, but sadly it will continue to come out due to our previously stated reasons. And for Daily Play bonuses, we fixed an issue earlier this week, so you should have received any missing cases. To thank you for your patience, log in between now and Tuesday to receive 5 Final Assault equipment cases free. Also, thanks to your feedback and some analysis we've run since going live, we're happy to say that we'll be improving the daily cases, giving Mark II and Mark III cases Iron cards and above, and Mark IV cases Bronze cards and above. Now make sure you subscribe. We have a new video coming out on Saturday, and there's no way that you'll want to miss it.
Mars 2030 is an open-world virtual reality experience where you get to be an astronaut living on Mars in the year 2030. This all started with a conversation that we had with a group of students at MIT Aero Astrolab.
We were interested in understanding what it really takes to send people on a mission to Mars.
We approached this project with the highest regard to scientific accuracy. We've been working with NASA for the last 3 years, consolidating all of the research that they've been doing. Everything that you see in the experience, we've derived from a conversation that we've had with NASA scientists or NASA personnel. For example, we actually drove the real Mars rover in the Mars yard at Johnson Space Center and recorded ambisonic audio we put 8 different microphones around the rover to grab the real audio. So you're basically feeling what it might be like to drive that rover.
Using the NASA data was a great place to start in terms of that way we know that the user is going to get an authentic experience just like it would be if they were standing on the surface of Mars.
The area that you'll be exploring in Mars 2030 is called the Mars Vallis region. It's about 40 square kilometers of satellite data that we converted from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter HiRISE imaging device. It takes stereoscopic images, and we're able to determine the elevation data and then kind of transfer it into a game engine. So what you're seeing is a real location on Mars. It's been a candidate site to land on Mars because of its geodiversity. It'll take you a while to get across the full landscape, but within it, you'll unlock pieces of Mars's history. You get to go inside of an ancient lava tube or traverse craters that were formed billions of years ago. Personally, I think that the future of VR involves the user going into a space and interacting with it. And that's sort of why we put this all together. We didn't want to go the route of creating a 360 video and kind of just putting you in and having you on a very linear experience. We wanted for you to have the freedom to become that astronaut without having to go through the astronaut training at NASA.